trying to make it Casa Grande to, or wherever the 3-lane stops.
Right.
All the way to Phoenix, right? And the big, they got money to build a bridge over the Gila River. That's starting in 24.
That's the big money.
That's the big money. They got 50 million now, they need more money. So anyway, they talked about that. Then they talked about 347, which goes to Maricopa.
Which has no money.
Which has no money, which will take money from us. And they're talking about, that's in the plan. So there was Eric Anderson, who heads up MAG, which is Municipal Area Governments, and it's basically Phoenix-based. But it does cover us up to Peralta for some dumb reason. We used to be under CAG, which was Central Area Governments. They took it over, but they haven't done anything for us. Anyway, Eric said they now have a 50-year plan, which are just they're just looking for public comment on it.
I would look at Pinal County, not the Pinal Partnership, so I was looking in the wrong spot.
Okay. Well,
so that's, I did find all the plans that I found this morning were like from 2005 and 2008. Yeah. So I knew I was in the wrong spot, but then this meeting was coming up soon, so
You missed it. You didn't follow instructions.
Well, you know, I think the Pinal Partnership, what I'll do is I'll cascade, you know, maybe what I'll do is cascade, and you can subscribe as GCCI members, and then you will get the notices like I do.
Okay.
Okay. But let's go back to this Eric Anderson, who's the MAG guy.
Can I back up a little further for these two gentlemen?
Sure.
347 and the north-south corridor were part of the 0.5% sales tax that have been paid the last 2.5 years or whatever.
Right.
$80+ million are in an escrow.
Right.
And that's on hold.
Let's stop. Actually, they're figuring out how to refund it. It's illegal.
Yep.
So they're going to give that 80 million back.
How are you going to refund
Yeah.
that?
that's what they're trying.
Well, what they're going to do is because they can't find all the people, they're going to give it back. The businesses want it. So like the hardwares, the Walmarts, the Home Depots, everybody. So that's a food fight. You know, if I was a business guy, I'd say, yeah, give me something back. So, because it's very hard to cascade it back to the individual user, right?
Sure.
So it's a windfall for the business, but anyway. Now that is, so now they're gonna have to start.
They ought to have a good list of the ones that bought something over $10,000.
Well, over $10,000 you didn't have to pay.
Right.
There
It
was
was
zero.
under $10,000.
Oh,
Up to 10,000, that was the problem. If they
yeah.
had said you pay 0.001%, it would have been legal,
Yeah,
over $10,000.
right.
And but it was stopped because they said zero is not a cheer. But anyway.
Right.
So let me just finish off with Mag and Eric Anderson. So there's a 50-year plan out there, which is new news, and we'll be wanting to look from Signal Butte through the Copper Corridor along 60, right? We'll want to see that. We'll want to see where 24 is, and anything else that's in our orbit, and what years it's planned for.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be really interesting because that's going to tell us how low we are in the totem pole.
Okay, so, but this is not a governmental agency, this is a coalition of folks who meet occasionally.
First, MAG, he has 125 people who basically, there was probably one in Michigan that was like that. He's the front end, so he says, here's what we need, then he goes through and works with the DOT and says, here's the priorities. So they do the EIS studies, etc. So he's the gatekeeper.
So, but the Pinal Partnership is not it, this is MAG.
Yeah, MAG.
It just depends on where I'm looking, so.
Yeah, so Pinal Partnership hosted it, and Eric was one of the 5 people. So let me just continue. Then the other points that were made was, they talked a little bit about 24, just going to the canal, or just going to the north-south. That's all that Eric said. And there was really nothing else talked about, even though it was Pinal County Road centric. It's basically the west. Let me just see if Dale's out there, or maybe we just leave the door open, maybe.
Yeah, see him.
He's on his way, yeah.
So, in your knowledge of this morning, is Pinal County grabbing the ball on 347 and trying to figure out if they can get money for 347 versus the the Parkway versus 24?
I think that's,
Well, I went to a meeting,
I think that's in play, yeah.
went to a meeting last week, it's the East Valley Transportation Infrastructure meeting. It's got quite a large group, chaired by Senator Farnsworth. It's got Eric Anderson and all these people there, and Eric last week, or Goodman, who's, I think, the chair of the Pinal County, said that they're working on a bill to.
Good morning, it's Jerry. And who've we got there? Oh, hey Glenn, good morning. Hey Phil, good.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm just gonna stay off camera here. Can you see the people?
Not me.
Yes.
Can you see the important people? Yeah.
No, he just got here.
I don't know who's important on the TV.
Why don't we go around the room and introduce ourselves? Thanks. Do you wanna just grab the door there?
Sure.
Should I be down
Yeah, you should be in camera. I can move this back.
there? No, I don't need to be on camera.
You're already on camera, so don't worry about it.
Okay. So Phil, why don't you start?
Well, hello, my name is Phil Corcoran, and I'm with the HOA at Superstition Mountain Country Club.
Great.
Hey, Ron.
AK and Glenn?
Glenn Legas, I'm from Trotta Del Oro.
Great, thank you. Phil Todd?
I am a resident of Mesa del Oro, part of Gold Canyon.
Okay, and
Ron Ribbert, resident of Mountain Brook Village.
Mike DeRosa, Gold Canyon East.
Glenn Fulmer, Peralta Trails.
Dale McKinney, Superstition Foothills.
Okay, and Jerry Stevenson from Mountain Brook. Okay, we're just getting started here. Thanks for joining. Hybrid meetings are always fun, but this it works for us. We can see you folks, so that's good. And where we were just starting, we were talking about the Pinal Partnership Breakfast this morning, and I don't know if any of you attended that. Did you, Glenn or Phil?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'll just briefly go over that as we'll get to the agenda in a minute, but that was a transportation discussion with focused on Pinal County. And in attendance was Kent Volkmer, who's the legal man for Pinal, and he talked about the 82 million that was hung up and basically is gonna be given back to somebody for the tax that was put in several years ago. And they talked about that money may go back to businesses, they may be able to recoup some of it, but right now it's not gonna go to the pound. Most of it's not gonna go to the county, if any. And they are planning to resubmit that tax proposal and make the changes. The big issue was that they said a tiered tax is not zero. You know, they had 0.5% up to $10,000 and then over $10,000. If they had put in 0.001, it would have happened. It would have been an okay tax, but four of the 7 judges said 0 is not a tier. So we can debate that, but you know, right now there's that $82 million is lost to Pinal. Secondly, there was a discussion from the gentleman who's leading a coalition for I-11, and I-11 goes from Vegas down to Nogales, and the section between Wickenburg to Vegas is being built by DOT as they get funding. You know, there's that road up there now, and every once in a while when you drive up, you'll get to a 4-lane highway, then you'll back off. So that's gonna be jigsawed over the coming years. Nevada has already got their part of I-11 done, at least to the dam. And then what they're doing now is the area between Wickenburg and I-10. That part of the corridor is going to EIS, Environmental Study number 2, or version 2, segment 2, which is more detailed study. So they've got the first right of way. Now they do the detailed engineering or work, so it can be designed. So I'm just giving you that as a background. That doesn't really affect us, but just a progress update.
So is that gonna be a separate from Highway 85, or that runs from Interstate 8 on up to 10?
They're I'm not sure on that corridor, they didn't talk about that, but that would be the priorities to Vegas to I-10, and then the next one is from I-10 to I-8. And they've got that tiered, they've got that surveyed, like the EIS 1 is done in that section. He did not talk about it today, so I don't know. Number 2 was the focus for DOT in Pinal is the I-10 widening from Phoenix to, basically get to the 3-lane south of Casa Grande. And that's a long-term project, but that's got everybody excited because it's a main corridor and getting a lot of attention. But it's not going to be built for quite a while. The bridge is going to be built in 24, 25. It goes over the Gila River, and then they'll start construction and widening it, etc. after that. So that's a long haul. Next gentleman was talked about. We've seen it before. Talked about Highway 24 and going, from 202 to Ironwood, and then the next step they're going to do from the study would be from Ironwood to the north-south corridor. No mention was made of going from the north-south corridor to 60. So, there's work being done, but that's just a comment on what went on in the meeting today. The other item that came up was Eric Anderson heads up the MAG organization, which is the Municipal Area Governments, and he's the transportation head. And he's been there for quite a while, and basically the 101 loop, the 202 loop, and all the major work that's going on is under MAG. And they're the interface. They set up the plans, the long-term plans, to get federal, if you have long-term plans, then they prioritize it, and that's how things are done across Maricopa and a lot of Pinal. So we are going to get a copy of the 50-year, or let's see, I guess it would be 30-year plan, which they've just got out for public comment, and see if there's anything that's in the works for 60. So that nothing was talked about in our neck of the woods at all today. So not surprised, but because it was a pretty high level executive burp. But we talked a little bit about that around the table, and I wondered, Glenn and Phil Corcoran, was that clear? You got any questions about that?
Well, so they talked about, I guess it kind of concerns me a little bit that they talked about the SR 24 going to the north-south corridor, which is years and years away, rather than punching it to 60, which could be done within the next 5 years. So no one brought up any comments or any questions as to why they would tie it into an imaginary road that's 10 to 20 years in the future instead of something that's there now. It kind of aggravates me a little bit, I think.
Well, Maxine just rolled in and she was there. There was no public comments, but there was half an hour before, an hour before, and an hour after when people talked. So I'm sure that'll come up and we'll bring it up with the county and other people. Did you hear anything about extending 24 to 60?
Yes, they're talking about tying it in near Apache Junction, but they're talking about the funding. There's a lot of talk about the funding, and they're hoping to find. Did you listen to the RTA tax? That they said that is a dead issue, so we're not going to be able to use that anywhere, and it's going to probably have to go back to the voters, or else it's going to go back to the businesses who paid it. And I found that shocking. That's something we paid it out here in Pinal County. It seems like it should come back to Pinal County in some form.
I was on for that, but yeah, it seemed like, well, you were there in person, and there was kind of a vacuum on our end. Nothing about 60 on this side or anything. So.
No, nothing about 60, just the 24 and then the north-south.
Right. So I asked Ron, because he's a wizard at this, to see if he could find that 50-year plan and we could circulate it across the group. And
they talked about it, it's online.
Yeah, I looked at the wrong spot before I got here, so.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I thought it was I looked at the Pinal County site, not the MAG site, so.
Yeah.
So
we'll
guess
find
what,
it.
I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He'll find it. Yeah. So.
I do wanna, I went to the East Valley Transportation Study Transportation Infrastructure meeting last week. That's a kind of a meeting of all the MAGs and CAGs and Queen Creek and
Mesa.
Mesa, and it's
Florence,
chaired by
everybody, yeah.
Farnsworth. But anyways, Goodman said that they were working on a bill to expand the tier 2 study, which would be, unless there's more than one tier 2 study going on, would be what the
On the north-south?
study for the north-south.
Okay.
But then he said also they're looking for legislation, and I wrote down 2 bill numbers, so it's one of the 2 of these, for $15 million to buy right away from Ironwood to 60 for the 24. And CERDI has been talking about, conceptually drawing a line over what's on your map,
Yeah.
all the way over to 60. So apparently that's getting some attention.
Wasn't brought up today, but it's
Right,
happening.
it came,
locally.
yeah.
But the $15 million thing was Representative Cook got that
Yeah,
through the House of Representatives, and I think it was approved through the Senate, but I don't think it's been signed by the governor yet.
It's something that's out there. So
Yeah.
if they buy the right of way, I mean,
that's step one.
depending on who buys it, it's could push that to the front of the.
Is that below or above where the new
You show the map.
purchase was?
This is
Well, it's,
right now.
24 is right between,
Well, I know where
The
24
Renaissance.
is, but the Ironwood, I'm talking about the Ironwood thing, so be
Well, they're-
right, by
yeah.
Ray Road, okay. So it's
So
below
it's
the.
below it.
it's below Ray Road.
Below, which actually would take more traffic off of 60, I think, than going up to Ray Road or Peralta Road. And that'd be a,
That's
I love this one. This is
I just assume we hold it up there.
So, I wanna put it on my wall, except it's filled.
Yeah, it's Phil's. So. But what was the other bill?
The 2 numbers that they were
I
talking
got the
about.
number, but one was 15 million, what was the other?
Well, he was talking about a bill to expand the tier 2 study, and I think that was 27, 28. And, then.
Oh, okay,
And then the other bill,
okay.
was 2184. At some point, I wrote down stuff as I heard it, but that doesn't mean it was, the context was right. 'Cause-
One of the funding was 4 million.
Was it?
Yeah, for what, I think
For the
that
tier-
came from the state
tier two.
legislature.
Tier 2 study,
Yeah,
And the tier 2 study is
Yeah.
supposed to be, they're still, ADOT is still looking at having the RFP for a consultant to do the
Yeah.
tier 2
Okay.
design study in July sometime.
Okay.
I'd never heard how they did the tier 1, tier 1s, or tier 2 study. Are you familiar with that?
Well, there was we would call them a quarter study in Michigan, where you pick your
Yeah,
quarter,
we're
which is
the
what,
same
the tier 1 study looks like. And then, once they know where they're gonna put it, then they're gonna start getting into design, which is where, Maria, I think your questions are, Phil. And that's, we just don't know yet, how they're gonna be doing all these interchanges and overpasses and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they had tier 1 from 60 highway to 24. And tier 2 was 24 to the Hunt Highway. So I think that's probably what Goodman is pushing for.
We have to do tier 1 first before they do tier 2. So I thought they were gonna do tier 2 from 60 down to 24.
And this is where I kind
That's
of
tier 1.
critiqued what's going on. The tier 1, tier 2 refers to the
Segment
environmental
one,
study
segment
process, not to this project versus that project.
Yeah.
So
And-
it's a process, it's
It's
a planning
phases of
process.
environmental planning and
That's it, it's all NEPA stuff.
project planning.
Some projects are funded all at once for the environmental study, but for organizations and counties and cities that don't have the money to do the whole thing, they break it into tier 1 and tier 2. And tier 1 is planning the right-of-way 1,500 to
Yeah.
2,000 feet, and then tier 2 narrows it down to what the right-of-way actually will be,
For
which
actual
is usually
design.
about
Yeah.
300
Got it.
feet.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that, and I was
Yeah, it was
really
interesting.
glad to hear it.
So once that tier
explained.
2 is done, then you can go to RFP because people know
Then you,
how high it's gonna be, how wide it's gonna be,
yeah,
where the bridge is
you have a
gonna be.
design, you have a
Yeah,
construction plans.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they
That's
come
what-
up
what-
with
Yeah,
proposals.
put with that.
Anything else from the partnership
Um,
in East Valley that's significant?
Well, some stuff, sometimes it's tough to tell what's significant until you hear what other people are saying, so, they're looking at having the 24 open to, Ironwood, I think.
Ironwood.
On mid-April.
Yeah.
That the PRTA is meeting this week, next week maybe, to to discuss how they're gonna handle the Supreme Court decision. I think by now that's old news, because that was last week, so. The revenues are 19% higher this year for the state. The budget will be more than $3 billion. They're looking at it as a one-time event, which they probably should. Ducey's looking for a $400 million I-10 widening to be complete. And there was some controversy, I think, about whether or not SR 88 is in scope or out of scope. It might be geographically out of scope for some. I know the Queen Creek guy went, is that out of scope? But it's a tourism thing, and so from that standpoint, AJ cares a lot. Superior cares a lot. I mean, that whole route around Roosevelt. So there's continued pressure on that from AJ and Jeff.
What was the budget for that?
Pardon me? Oh, no. That's what they're fighting for.
But what was it? What would they
50
think
million.
that'd take? 15?
50, I thought they said 50.
Oh.
I thought because they have to re-engineer that whole, take
Whole
that
section.
mountain down and build it like a highway. Well, I've been out there a few times hiking and, it's just eroding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
stabilization or anything.
There's nothing being done there. They've got a barrier and, you're right, there's no work, no studies, no nothing. It doesn't seem to be any action.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I don't know what CERT's gonna do about it, but it's
I think
low
they-
priority because it's not definable, right? I mean, you got things that are definable and, that's why the money's going other places for the parkways and Santan, et
Yeah,
cetera.
to handle traffic. as opposed
Traffic
to-
versus tourism. I
Yeah.
think traffic will win.
Yeah,
I think CERT is gonna hire the guy that was extending Southern Avenue, behind the Superstition Golf Course.
yeah, bulldozer, okay.
Without permit, secretly.
Just let him go.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Ron, thanks for the update. Yeah, there's a lot of changing things. I'd like to go and not talk about the 22 plans, but just kind of go through these high-level items.
Yeah.
Phil has done an excellent job on summarizing them. So let me just go through the agenda first, and then should cover most of those. The big one in front of us is still that elephant with ADOT and our Highway 60 safety concerns. And when I talked to Andy Smith and a couple other people on Wednesday, they think it would be a good idea to have a joint meeting. So Maxine, if we sat down with Canal, maybe went to Florence and had ADOT meet us there or video. I think when I looked at their 6 things and we've got 14 things, we need to put those together. And I was gonna send that off, but I wanted to have this meeting first just to say, look, if we do that and harmonize it, I think it's gonna be more powerful for us. So if it's at that level, then the county manager and CERTI, then it's more broader based than just us, right? Gets us
Yeah,
in
and you
the right box.
can't get sideways with each other because we're in different
Right,
meetings.
and and then ADOT is, we don't need to be there for the rest of the county, but we certainly want them to be on the hook. Cause I think they all know that things are getting really, really tight out there, So anyway, I'm gonna do that, this weekend. I'll send it off to Andy, and then we will tell ADOT that we're gonna have a joint meeting. And I'll probably just let them pick the time and that with, Canal's probably got less time than we do, but they've got more leverage with ADOT than we do, okay?
I wanna make sure that we see the study and not talk about the study. I mean, at least it's the 60 safety study that they said we're doing. I don't wanna hear about it, I wanna see it, and I think we need to have many eyes on it. I know I'm no traffic engineer, but
Right.
there are people out there nearby who is a traffic engineer, are traffic engineers, and that's, just check their work.
Yeah, so,
I have one question about the coordination between Maricopa County and Pinell County. Is that only through the state, or is that done with another meeting, or?
well, there's a couple groups. CAG, Central Area, which Maxine used to run, used to be responsible for a lot of things, including I-60 from probably Meridian down the rest of the way.
Planning for Gila and Pinell counties, and we coordinated with ADOT, and then of course with MAG and our.
Yeah, so then, some time ago, 10 years ago, MAG took it down to Peralta And so CAG's not here, even though they're in Apache Junction and more in tune with what we want. So that's one thing. Then there's a Sun Corridor, which is Sun Corridor group, because Casa Grande's big and big enough to have one, or that they're separate, so MAG deals with all that. But the big gorilla is MAG, right? And they've come into Pinell County, because it is kind of integrated. But I know they seem to be serving them, from we're on the runt end, they seem to be serving themselves with all the construction you see down in the middle of Phoenix and, and that's fine, that's where the priority is, But where do we get our bid is always been a question in my mind. So if we have the county, the next thing to do with ADOT is to set up a joint meeting and set a time. So I'll work with Andy and Maxine and we'll get that online.
I might mention that MAG has their own sales tax for transportation. That's how they've built most of those freeways throughout. So they're not taking everybody's money. They've got their own that they keep.
Yeah, back in the '80s they passed that, so that's how everything got built. Yeah.
And it's gonna go on the agenda or on the vote again.
Right.
Yeah.
This coming
So we
week.
need the same kind of thing here.
Was the half cent here model on that?
No, it wasn't in the issue. They had, Mr. Volkner, who's a senior attorney down at the county, explained that the problem with it is it was called a tiered tax. It was $10,000 as a half cent, and over $10,000, there was no tax, and that became the issue.
So the issue was we didn't model it after.
No, they were saying that there was either Glendale or Peoria, one of those communities had the same type of issue that we had, and they got it resolved several years ago, so they're gonna look at that, but Mr. Volkner he said it's a dead issue. We can't go back and change what the voters did. We can't change what the court did. Now we've gotta come up with something new for the ballot.
Yeah, so that's, again, long-term, to build up 80 million or whatever.
Oh, it's so
It's good
sad.
to get
It's
another 5 years,
heartbreaking.
right? So anyway, we'll follow up on that. Another thing I've happily noticed, is the median clearing has gone really well. I don't know how it happened, but I know they just keep cleaning it all the way to Florence Junction, so
I object
that's,
to that statement.
okay.
They've still never trimmed the trees on the curve before Mountain View.
Oh, I know, that's on our list. That's on our list. To make that more visible, that intersection, right? Lastly, on Highway 60, I've got a meeting with Jeff Siegel, who runs the Renaissance Fair. Probably get Phil Corcoran around. It's your neighbor, right, Phil?
It's my neighbor.
Yeah. He said he'd be glad to meet after he's cashed the last check from the Renaissance Fair. He didn't use those words though. So I leave at the end of April, so I'll plan to do that, and we'll get one or two of us maybe to meet with him as well. Because he does have, as has been pointed out, he's got a traffic engineering group as well that we may want to partner with. And maybe we puts that into our wish list of the grant, or our request to the county. What do you think of that, Maxine? Remember, they're looking for money, what should we request? And if we ask for traffic engineering, then it could be the Sun Corridor, it could be an independent person, right?
Yeah.
If we put that in and put in X thousands of dollars, does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it
okay.
would.
I have a recommendation for him.
Okay.
From life experience going to Burning Man on a 2-lane road, when you got off the 2-lane road, it went into 12 lanes for them to check you in and collect money. He stays 2 lanes. And
Oh,
we
that's
have
a good point.
and we have traffic all the way back to how far it would go. So that to me is his problem.
But he said he does not collect funds.
Right.
So it looks like it's just more a matter of,
Physical.
physically, getting into the parking lot. He doesn't have it streamlined, right, like they do at the big event there in Glendale or wherever that arena is.
Regardless of what the purpose,
Yeah,
whether fund collection or not, it's needed for traffic.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good, get them off the
Yeah.
highway as quickly as possible.
If I may, you know, the real solution here, I mean, you can widen that as much as you want, you can make it 50, 100 spaces wide. You just have too much traffic coming to too little spot, too small of a spot. And the only thing that's gonna fix this thing, I believe, is another exit out of that area. So I can't imagine that anything would be better than the extension of SR 24
Yeah.
into 60, just south of the Renaissance. When you come out of the Renaissance, you have to turn right in order to come back to Gold Canyon. You're turning right anyway. If you looked at the map, you'll see that SR 24 is just at that point, and literally a lot of the traffic would get on 24. I mean, what I propose, you know, Siegel's been here a long time. He's had a lot of success. He's paid a lot of taxes, and maybe he can get attention. And we've got 15 million already approved, and I really believe that it will be approved through Cook. All we need is another 15 million from Pinal, and that project starts. And there is our solution. That's our solution, not only to the Renaissance, but that would be our solution to that traffic coming down out of the mountain of Superior.
Great idea. So have him as a key participant,
I
yeah.
think I've heard Phil say this a couple times, though, that when you build that extension, you gotta make it favorable to create a preferred route. You know, to have minimal stoppages and, you know, so that people prefer to go that way than coming down 60.
Well, but if we could get it moving, I think like
Yeah.
you said, and get the Renaissance Fair to be a key sponsor.
That'd be a great
And,
idea.
You know, they
Superior,
kept that away from
Superior,
ADOT, which is great, because ADOT is 5 to 10 million, 5 to 10 years. By staying under ADOT, we could get this thing done within the next 5 years. I think that's true, isn't it, Maxine?
You know, today there's a lot of talk about the extra money that will be coming to Arizona and how we needed to partner and go forward. So we've got all the partners in this area. I think it would work.
yeah, you know, and when you look at the Copper Corridor and you look at Cook and all the rest of it, you know, you get that momentum, that's got the same kind of build as 347, right? You got the, you know, all the vested
Exactly.
interest people,
Especially Horton, everything down south,
yeah.
help feed that.
Okay. Okay, glad that triggered that. Another one that I had on the agenda was there's a plan for a new Maverick service station at Kings Ranch Road and 60. You know that vacant land right across from Walgreens? And we heard about it a little bit at the Adobe meeting 6 weeks ago. And what I think we need to do is kind of get the plan, what's the circulation plan, what's going on? Is it all done, or can we intervene, you know, like, because it's gonna create more of a pinch point for traffic. So if you think of, you know, going into the Circle K right now at Mountain Brook, right?
Oh my God.
I mean, I was there 10 days ago and 2 cars behind me, they had a collision, you know, just because I saw it out of my rearview mirror, I heard the sound and I'm like, what's going on? And they were out past the storage zone in that fast lane. And either somebody wasn't paying attention, I don't know exactly what triggered it, but that's happening more and more, right? And you're gonna have the same problem when you have another service station, you know, making that left turn off there to get to the last service station. So, you know, I don't know how far it's gone, but we need to get under the covers of that one a little bit.
This is really a dumb question, but why can't 60 be like it is, you know, in Mesa? I mean, if it was, you wouldn't have those problems. It'd take a lot of money to do, but,
We're gonna get to that.
okay.
So,
Where can we get the site plan?
well, the county has it, so we
Okay.
need somebody to say, okay, I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna get it, and bird dog that. And it's more a matter of, just getting it, looking at the plans, bringing it back to the group, and maybe going down and talking to one of the planners about, hey, what's the plan?
Do we know the schedule for that?
No, I don't know anything. I just know that Surrey and Glen Walt knew about it, and that's all I know. So,
I have been working with Quick Trip, trying to get Quick Trip to take that as a gas station, as a service center. And they said, no, we can't do it because the land isn't big enough for their operation, because there's 2 lots there versus 1. And the large lot was the one that was supposedly sold, the other one has not been sold. So that's why Quick Trip,
okay, so I didn't even know there was 2 lots, you know?
yeah,
So it sounds like the one right beside, Kings Ranch Road, that's one, and then the other one's near the, urgent care?
yes. The smaller one's at the urgent care
Okay.
side.
Yeah.
Can Sturdy get us the site plan, if he's
We
working?
need to do that ourselves. I mean, he, you know, if we go to the county and ask the county, I mean, he'll tell us who it is, but we would be better off dealing with, transportation people there.
Are they staking that out already? I saw stakes,
some,
yellow
yeah.
flag stakes all
Yeah,
through there.
down there.
So Maxine, what do you think would be the best route? Just going to, what's that guy's name in, the planner, the transportation planner?
Down in
In Florence,
Florence,
Hotel.
Andy or,
guy underneath him, you know, the ADOT guy we met
Yeah.
with, and, he's at the TAC meeting here,
yeah, I can't,
the tall guy. Anyway,
they mostly all attend that TAC meeting, and I don't recall. his
remember
name
when we went
offhand.
down with, Phil Corcoran was with us and Ron, we went down, we met with that woman and the
Yeah,
other,
with Tara.
Tara, and, okay, so if we worked with Tara,
I can call Tara, she'll get me the information.
okay, would you do that?
I will.
But there's no question there's gonna be congested traffic there.
It's gonna be terrible.
If it goes through.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
don't
gonna
they
be-
have any type of, from a zoning standpoint, I mean, when I built restaurants, your entrance had to be X amount of feet from a major highway. I mean, a matter of fact, I had one almost, well, screwed up, because at the last moment, the DOT had come in and said, by the way, your entrance is too close to the major highway, and I had to scoot it back 50 feet. I mean, when you told me about it the other day, you know, every time I drive by, I look at that, and I think that's a disaster, because you're gonna take that left turn or right turn onto, especially left turn onto Kings Ranch, and then immediately try to go
It's
left.
just like the Mountain Brook.
Yeah.
It's
It's
gonna
too
be
narrow to
terrible.
do it.
Actually, I think Mountain Brook even has more, you
A little bit of a runway, 100 feet or
yeah,
something.
and then now getting off of that, I thought it would be purchased all the way down to the, whatchamacallit,
Urgent care.
the urgent care, because then maybe you could use, you use that, road, and you've gotta go right, that wasn't a biggie. But man, oh man, that's, with the drivers around here, that is just, the urgent
Oh,
cares are
yeah.
gonna be busy, let's
Well,
just put it that way.
60
Well,
needs an entry lane to come
Yes.
out of that gas
Yes.
station and get
Yeah.
back on too.
Yes.
That's the problem with Mountain Brooks also.
Yeah,
Kings
yeah,
Ranch
and
is
so
so
it'll be
narrow.
all, because Walgreens traffic is a mess right now.
Oh,
Going in
right.
there, it's unsafe,
Yeah.
and you'll have to put a barrier up there to keep the people from turning left into the service station, then they'll go up to the church and turn around to get gas.
It is
So,
just a mess.
If
It's
you,
not a good
if you could get it
configuration.
started, and then they had to get approval probably from ADOT to increase the storage or something. I mean, it's right beside the highway, they can't just sort of like put it
Yeah.
in like a,
Sure they can.
well, anyway.
I mean, really, that's the problem. What the advantage that we have with Mountain Brook is you have that divider between the, the
Yeah.
ins and the innies and the outies, which
Yeah.
prevents these people
Right.
from going, well,
And we
turn
have-
left here and crossing.
And we have a fountain on one side instead of a
Yeah,
Walmart.
yeah. So this is like trying to put
This is,
5 pounds of potatoes in a 3-foot,
yeah.
pound
pound
So
sack.
I don't know what your thinking was with Quick Trips, but, we had thought that they could, one thought would be that you could put a merge lane out there from Kings Ranch Road, along the sign, and make it a merge lane going to the urgent care, so you could gain speed and you wouldn't have to stop, So that takes away, that would blow out that service station. You couldn't do both, right? So anyway, if we could get started on that one, and we
Yeah, I'll
can,
give Tara a call.
we'll raise that.
That's a problem.
The next one on the list is Peralta Canyon, Sleepy Hollow, Chevelon Trail. And it looks to me like the county and the developer, never really did a good job in in making that road wide enough for making a real access. It was just a paper plan, never really got anywhere. So now that there's houses choking that street, you really can't do that. And so, the county's got a real, I don't know, they know they got a pickle. Because if it was wide enough, or if there's another way that you could make like a little ring road, I don't know the configuration of Peralta Canyon, but if you could sort of have 2 residential or 3 residential streets running into Chevelon, if I'm making myself clear, then you could maybe have some access. It wouldn't be like their main route that's 2 lanes, but it might be another way to do that. So that's another one that we need to, we need to ask questions about. I know we can't solve it, but it'd be good to know what the alternatives are that the county's considering, because they may not be considering 3 or 4 exits to Chevelon Trail. That may be a new idea, or they may just be saying, okay, we'll just open the gate to Sleepy Hollow. I don't know, but that's another
Hot area.
hot item for the county, and if you could put that on your list when you talk to her, that would be just helpful, just to say,
Maybe this is naive, but isn't the power line road pretty, I mean, there are some houses on the left and right, but the power line trail, where the power line goes through?
Yeah.
Well, why couldn't that go, I mean, it goes through to Wahoo's. I take the bike there, and it's pretty, it seems like it'd be pretty easy to do.
Use that
compared
right
to
away,
the choice.
make
Make it a road there, underneath the power line.
Where does it come out at?
Wahoo's.
Oh, it's right
Just
over.
right
Oh,
over
okay.
here.
So it's Wahoo.
Yeah,
Yes, just-
right there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Hey, let's go to lunch.
Well, okay, that's I hadn't thought of that. I mean,
If the-
one thing, if you go down Sleepy Hollow, right, if you come out there, then you're gonna have a choke point when you hit
Yeah,
Kings Ranch, right? Then you'll need to
exactly.
have a traffic circle.
I think that's owned
Yeah,
by
you can take out all the
SRP,
houses to
isn't
do
it?
that.
No, it's just the right of way. I think the associations, looking at the maps, it's not, we have the same problem.
HOA.
SRP locks all the gates, and I've been complaining that for a while, and the association really owns it. They have the right of way, but they don't have a right of way to lock the gates, and I think, I don't know, same kind of issue happens on the south of 60 because of the ranchers there. They have the right to lock gates and that sort of thing.
Because we've got golf courses underneath
Yeah,
the power lines in ours, so it might be just a matter of, how's the easement written?
yeah,
And can
yeah.
it be renegotiated? Because I know they don't want houses underneath it.
Yeah.
They don't want people underneath it
Yeah,
for shizzle. but-
I don't.
So
I
golf
wanna be
course
there.
versus vehicle traffic is a little different
Yeah.
thing too, you never know.
Well, the golf course though, it just goes to here. It wouldn't go through the golf course, right?
Well, yeah, we wouldn't take the golf course out, but I think in terms of having an alternative way to travel.
Alternative land use under the power lines, right?
Yeah. You'd have a shuttle service, hovercraft or something,
Well, it would,
conservation.
somewhere I think in our goals, we talk about having increased connectivity, and that could be one way of increasing connectivity twixt vehicles. I like to see us so that we don't have to get out on 60 every time somebody needs to sneeze. I mean,
Right.
that's a
Right.
problem.
That's a good point.
So that may be part of our charge here, is to look for alternatives between our communities that is friendly.
Right.
You don't have to ask somebody in Florence if we can do something, so. And in that case, if you own the right of way underneath it, then you would maybe own the road, or, and that's, now you create a liability for yourself, but.
Sure.
We talked yesterday briefly about, we'll get to Entrada del Oro and having a road along the mountain, right, which is in the long-term plan. So Don Donnelly to Florence Junction, right?
Wow.
But anyway, scary, but
Well, it's either we do it or you wait for ADOT to do it, or the county, and
Yeah.
chances are, that'll look good, so.
okay. Well, I'm thinking maybe we might want to take these 3 or 4 things and tag them on to our DOT meeting with the county. And say
Okay,
we want to talk about 60, then we want to talk about the Maverick station, we wanna talk about the Peralta Canyon congestion and also Entrada del Oro. You know, just, we can sort that out, but that's maybe a better way than over the phone, just to kinda get, you know, get maybe some preliminary information than have a meeting,
I think face-to-face is
yeah.
real good.
So do you want me to go ahead and try and get the Maverick Plan, if they have any plans down there?
I think that'd be
Okay.
helpful, so we can
Okay.
circulate it and know more about it.
Okay,
Well, and that, what's good about that is if we can put that with the traffic study on 60, because
Yeah,
you can't talk about them separately anymore.
Yeah, right.
They're interrelated,
oh, yeah.
yeah,
and if their study didn't include that,
oh, yeah.
maybe now it should.
And when we get to Phil, he's got a good rapper for all this stuff, so let me just
I didn't know he
finish.
was a rapper. Get
With
down,
a
man.
capital R, this guy's a rapper. Let's talk a little bit about Entrada del Oro. And Glenn, I'm glad you're on. One of the thoughts that some of us had was, you've got one entrance into Entrada del Oro, and one of the big issues we're having in Peralta Canyons is not having two accesses. And has that been a big deal for, is that on your radar?
Well, it's certainly something we think about. I mean, it's not a big deal until, that road is cut by some emergency.
And what about the fire and police? Is there gonna be a police and fire station there? Or is there one now?
No,
No, there's nothing.
You don't have anything there?
Closest,
They're
the
covered
closest,
with-
no, the closest one is the one on 60, across from, well, you know, over by you
No,
guys.
no,
Gold Canyon RV, right by there.
Right.
So has that been I don't know when they build other ones, but that's a long ways to,
that whole thing to me is screwed up. You can't even buy a candy bar in that place. You can't buy a candy bar in Peralta Trail. You can't buy a loaf of bread. You can't do anything there because they've got no commercial
Service.
business. Now, I've been told that at the end by 60 highway, that is private land that could be commercial for that operation. But right now, they're totally covered between Queen Valley and the fire station here in Gold Canyon.
Yeah, I guess what's the point?
well, we're just wondering, we're just trying to put ourselves in your shoes. I mean, we have, you know, as it grows and grows, right now, we're handcuffed when there's an accident and you're gonna be, you know, now's the time to put the plans in place if there should be a secondary road. That was one of the things, that was one of
Well,
the,
they've got a nice wide road and they got bicycle lanes on each side of the main road, you know,
going in.
But,
going in.
yeah, I mean,
If that's okay, I'm not,
there's two issues. One is, 60 is the only access for all of us. I think that's a bigger issue than our single road out. If you get out of our neighborhood and you go
The back road that goes up. to
about a
Forest
mile
Junction.
toward the highway, you can turn left and take El
That's it.
Camino Viejo
That's it.
to Queen Valley and
I've
then
done
get
that
out
before.
that way.
And out to the Forest Junction.
Between those 2 points, if that road is cut, we don't have any other way out. You can go out, right now you can go out into, you know, there are dirt roads out behind us, some of which are passable, some of which are not in a regular vehicle. You know, we can escape on our quad if we need to. I don't know where we're gonna go, but that's an option. But yeah, I mean, we have, you know, getting out to the highway, you had a big accident on 60 going west yesterday. We could go east toward, and then down around to Queen Valley, you know, through Florence. Yeah, there are limited options.
well, what about if the fire people can't get you, the urgent, you know, what do you do? Does Queen Valley, I mean, where do you get urgent care? Do they fly in? If say the Renaissance Fair is totally messed up, there's accidents and the fire station can't get past the Renaissance Fair, then what do you do?
I believe that Queen Valley, as opposed to Queen Creek, I misspoke when I said Queen Valley before going south. That would be around the Queen Creek. Queen Valley is, they have a fire department, I believe.
That's just-
There's
Yes.
a mutual aid agreement that
Volunteer.
they would come out.
Okay,
Glenn, my my assessment and concern is that if you're truly gonna have another 800 homes, as the chart tells you are, when is there gonna be a traffic light at the entrance off 60 highway?
That is, there was, when the development was planned, there was no plan to put in traffic light there.
You just turn
So
left
I
at your
don't-
own peril.
So I don't know that building those homes now is gonna change that.
Okay,
Well, there's gotta be something, because as you get that many vehicles, it's the same issue that we have at Kings Ranch Road and Mountain Brook and every place else, at certain hours of the day, you can't get off the road,
yeah, we have 1,600 homes there.
you know? And, yeah, another thing that I wanna make a comment on 60 Highway, cause I've talked to the fire department in Queen Valley. If there is an event on the westbound side of Gonzales Pass, there is no place for them to do a turnaround and come back. You have to go over the pass and down the hill in order to get there. So Queen Valley Fire Department would like to have a turn around area for them, without going over Gonzales Pass.
The median, yeah.
I mean, if you go past the entrance into Entrada del Oro, you're locked into going over the pass.
Yep.
It's too bad somebody didn't bring that to the attention when that was being planned, because, yeah, it's
If you
too
go
bad.
west past Entrada del Oro,
If you go east past Entrada del Oro, you have to go over the
All the way over
pass.
the pass, yeah.
Yeah, there's no turnaround.
No, you would turn at Queen Valley, yes, but if you're coming out of Queen Valley and going, you know, cause you would turn before the railroad track into Queen Valley. But
Right.
when they come out, they have to go over the pass,
You're losing me. We got that interchange for 79,
yeah?
okay?
But Queen Valley's past that.
Right, one way into Queen Valley. You can also get off that and go into Queen Valley.
I know, but the fire department, if they come out,
Oh, I
Queen
see.
Valley.
if the fire department come out of Queen Valley and they go to Superior, for example,
Yeah,
you don't have no place to turn around unless you go over the pass.
oh, I got you. Okay, I understand what you're talking about, okay. Good thing we've got a group here, jeez.
The way that road is though, you know, one side goes up on the side of the mountain and the other stays on the old road. Getting a turnaround in there would be very difficult, yeah. I know they had a tough time engineering dividing the highway when they did it,
Okay, another data point. Okay.
cause it goes along the side of that ridge,
Uh,
yeah.
Okay, any other items on Entrada del Oro, Glenn, from a transportation point of view?
I mean, you know, it's, getting in and out is a concern, and if, you know, if we have a fire that cuts the road or anything like that. On the other hand, you know, we bought the place knowing that, the layout was the way the layout is, so I can't sit here and whine about it.
The things like storage along, you know, where you're turning left, that has to be expanded and those kind of things. Those are important as well, that it's planned for, right? Because it's probably not planned for right now. You know, when you make the left turn heading east, you probably have, I don't know if it's 4 cars or what, but you probably need 20 cars. So anyway, that's another item we can bring up with the county. Okay. So as we went through those, you know, if you get the plans for the Maverick station, then we'll add these other 3 items just for, you know, ADOT can be there, but they're besides safety issues, they're more, how are we gonna get these things done? And, maybe the Peralta Canyon is not that interested, maybe that's not a big ADOT problem, but they can still sit in on it. Okay. Phil, you gave me this morning an interesting document about your thoughts, and I thought what we could do is, not sure if everybody got that on the phone. Did you get
No.
that email?
No, I haven't sent the revised, I only sent it to you.
Okay.
And, you and I talked about some of the items, but whether you decide to pass it on or not, that's your decision,
I've already passed it on.
That's, the latest one has got the paper clip on it, and,
Great.
Here you go. Do you want the white or the green?
Doesn't hold. I don't want the green
The white or
one.
the green?
We could, yeah.
You
The
have
go or the
yellow. I want
stop?
the yellow.
Daylight champagne.
I wondered, I was looking at the paper, where in the heck is the green?
Okay,
Yeah, I did,
okay.
yes.
Did you, Glenn?
I received an email this morning, yeah, I haven't opened it.
Oh, okay, I think we're gonna be talking about Phil's comments on this, because they're a little broader than what we've discussed so far. Go ahead, Phil.
I got up early this morning and added stuff to the third page. And I just wanted to, put it out there for us to look at and think about and understand. And I think one of my main points right now is that the Kanawha County ASU study is being made, and, what are we gonna become as a community in the future is a big issue. And I understand that Jeff Surtee is pushing for SR 24 or pushing for Ray Road, because in his mind, that's gonna open up the area for development. I have a real concern about the design of the roads, and the use of very valuable state trust land. I absolutely don't understand why 60 Highway was built with all of these 30-degree slopes or whatever. That's land. And if you haven't been to it, they have in fact changed and have built an overpass with vertical walls like what I have been, used to in Texas, especially Corpus Christi. But if you drive down Ellsworth, where the 24 highway goes over that, they have built that with vertical walls. And I'm just encouraging somebody to kind of think about what we're really doing. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, they don't care about the existing 11 or 15,000 people that live in Mountain Brook, Gold Canyon, Peralta, whatever. And you can sit and beat the drum on environmental and whatever, but 24 highway is a destination highway. Right now, you're not gonna do that to go shopping. You're gonna go to Williams Gateway, or you're gonna go to Gilbert or Chandler to a doctor's place. But our lives mostly are, we're gonna go to the hardware store, or we're gonna go shopping to get food. And 24 is not gonna help us at all. I mean, yeah, you can get kind of opinions on how you're gonna get to it. Just think through, looking at a map, how you're gonna go to Home Depot, how you're gonna go to Lowe's, whatever. Oh, well, we can go to the new Costco in Queen Creek. Really? Oh, that's a good idea, So, it's gonna be a lot of money. We don't have any money. And for you gentlemen that weren't on there before, with the $82 million not available, 347 highway in Maricopa Township over there is critical path number 1. If you talk to Supervisor Goodman, the Santan Parkway is item number 1. and here we are, thinking about SR 24. And my bottom line is, I realize the citizens that were here in 2002 at the January 15th meeting expressed their opinions on the options that ADOT had offered to extend 60 Highway. Well, those X number of people that made a decision to go bypass have prevented anything being done over the last 20 years. Now we've got a lot more people, and we've got a lot more issues. And I really think that as a group, somebody needs to have a meeting with the people, let the people understand where your options are, you know, and if it's gonna be 10 or 15 years before we get something done, I think we have to really go to ADOT and talk to them about extending 60 Highway. I really think we have no other option, you know, but if we don't have something else built that's convenient, I mean, I will never use the SR 24 to go to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, but in the meantime, I absolutely hate the fact that I've got to go through traffic lights and either stop and start, depending on the time of day. I want to make a right turn off Kings Ranch Road. I want to get on the highway as quickly as I can. I want to go 65 miles an hour, and I want no lights. That's what I want, but I'm only one person.
Okay, Bill.
You know? So it's just some thoughts. And then in my mental state, I realize, okay, I get on the SR 24 and I go to Meridian, because man, that's an easy way to get near Home Depot. Well, if I go one way with that current design of Meridian on 60 Highway, if I'm going westbound, I can't get off. If I'm on Meridian and I want to go eastbound, I can't do that. You know?
But we're gonna build you some more Lowe's and Home Depots on Highway 24.
And that's probably what's gonna
That's
happen.
probably what's gonna happen.
Well, yeah, when you get to
defeating the purpose.
50,000 people out there, but when's that gonna be?
Right.
And I don't even hear anybody talking about extending Kings Ranch Road to 24 or Peralta Trail to 24. Nobody talks, you don't see any design, you don't see anything.
Yeah.
And for Glenn, I don't know where the road's coming in out there. I just put down mile marker 207 or whatever, but is it 206? I know that the Arizona is been told that their entrance is gonna change, but how are they gonna get into Entrada del Oro with this 24 coming into 60?
Well, they have some plans around her, and then the Camino Real Road is just right next to it, so somehow they've got it. thought
Somehow.
through. I don't know the plan, but
Well,
maybe
none
Jody,
of us
maybe
do.
Jody does. I
None
don't
of
know.
us do, you know?
Well, I like the way you summarized all the impacts and all the pieces here that are driving growth, right? If we can play this back to people who are approving all these projects and saying, you gotta stop. Or you gotta build roads, one or the other, you can't, this is just gonna get worse, it's because we don't have any relief for 5 years.
I want people that know the facts more than I do to, let's make changes
Yeah.
to it so it's accurate and then do with it whatever you want, Jerry.
Well, I'm a little, the reason, let's look at the players here, which is basically the state. Their role is going to be major traffic movements to support the economy. They don't really care if you get to a Home Depot. And they don't exist to build local residential streets, and they don't, this local traffic concerns is that going to Home Depot is a local traffic concern, and to think that we should let that drive where we think the major traffic flows need to go, I think we'd be strategically wrong. And it wouldn't help. So I think, you know, if we do,
Well, I think
either one of the above of state north-south freeway or SR4, that will remove traffic from 60 out here,
That's the
which is
purpose.
the point.
Right.
And which will make it easier for we to get to Home Depot and to Costco and all those sorts of places.
The 60
And we-
be less
we-
congested.
And we won't drive those roads. Good, somebody else can drive them, and I think that's the way we need to push this thing. And now the stuff with the existing 60, it is where it is, it's not gonna move. We have traffic issues, but that's those are localized sorts of things that unfortunately are getting screwed up with major commercial and cross-country, cross-state, interstate, probably interstate types of traffic. So let's get that interstate stuff, big deal traffic flows out of our face. And then 60 will,
Then the herd on 60. right?
then the herd, I say, just take that off. So we aren't the main, I don't think that we along the 60 are the main customers of any of this. Where we would have that may be the main beneficiaries if we get all the traffic off it. So that's where I think we're gonna
Yeah,
have
but we do
success.
have a 5-year problem.
We do have a
Okay,
5-year
so
problem.
that's,
So we need to-
that's, I think, where Phil's coming from, is
Well,
what do we do in those 5 years?
Yeah,
I mean, it's part of it.
I'm gonna disagree with you, Ron, because if you're eastbound on 60 highway at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're not concerned about interstate traffic.
You're right. You want it to go away.
And as you get more and more and more and more people, you know, I have never seen a tractor trailer in a wreck on 60 highway. You see more people running through red lights, towing a damn ATV and a pickup truck than you do on a tractor trailer.
Okay?
It's just a matter that we're getting so many people, the same issue that Supervisor Goodman has down there. He's got people building houses and no place, you know, you don't have a smooth flowing system. Now, yeah, we've all know how fast we can go to get through the lights without stopping. Anyway,
I'm just,
I understand, Ron.
if we need to handle the big deal traffic coming through, which would be the big RVs, because none of those RVs, well, not as many of them, this is not their destination. We're just in the way. Let's make it easier for them to go to wherever the hell there is they need to go. And maybe that's where we should be focusing our main efforts on
Well,
getting rid of the traffic that exists.
Doesn't it make sense to extend 60 so they can do that? I mean,
I don't know what
this whole
extending
thing
means.
about,
I don't see it on the map. I don't know
What
what
do
you're
you mean
talking about.
extend?
well,
Yeah.
extend is
Widen.
widen,
Well,
to
I
make
mean,
it,
that
additional
probably
lanes.
needs to be done anyways, but that's not an alternative. That's just something that needs to be done.
well, once it's done, it sort of solves a problem, doesn't it?
No, it just means you're just gonna have more traffic going along that road.
You know,
I mean, it's still the only path between here and there, until we do something.
Yeah,
Like-
well, you can say the same thing about, 60 in Mesa, from Mesa to wherever, but, I travel it, and hundreds and thousands of people do every day,
Yeah.
and
So
that's
Go
not
ahead,
an
Nikki.
issue.
well, I wanted to let Phil know that Meridian, that extra lane that's put there, that was only put there to get traffic off of 60 to get them down to Ironwood to go down to Santan.
Right.
I remember when they planned that, it was like a nightmare, and they only had a little bit of money to do it. So they put those additional Meridian lanes in to get the traffic off.
Pull it off 60 and send it south.
Yeah,
Well,
when
then-
ADOT came out this way and extended the Superstition Freeway out and connected with US 60, they expected 60 to stay a freeway. They didn't expect all these roads coming into it and all these issues. Pinal County, that was doing the planning, didn't have the rules, regs, and ordinances in place and statutes to keep people from getting access right onto the freeway. The first one was the Shell station down there, and we all thought that. ADOT's board came out here and sat one afternoon to watch what was going on. You've got to have the rules and regs in place and whatever's necessary to stop this stuff. And evidently, we haven't been able to stop any of it. when the developers come in, to get them to put in roads and connections and one thing and another, the rules have to be in place, or the developers bring in their attorneys and they can't get things done. So there's a whole lot of issues. And ADOT's got the whole state to look at. We've got, what, 12,000 people out here?
Or small potatoes.
I just came from the meeting when they were talking about moving 500,000 people, you know, and trying to get that I-11 in. And it's just a huge issue, and it all goes back to money and rules and regs.
Well, one thing that, if you just take a scenario where north-south is built from, say, 60 down to 24, let's just say that's got a priority, then my thought would be that from Signal Butte to the north-south would be expanded at that time. Because if you said, right now it's a choke point, but that may be a trigger where you then do that 4 or 5 miles, because it would tie into the north-south, so you'd make it kind of freeway all the way and 3 lanes. You know, but that's a long ways away. Because we've been frustrated with why don't people do the first, you know, to Ironwood or beyond to Goldfield? Why don't they do that now? And there's just no interest in doing that and no money. Even Apache Junction, that doesn't see that as something they want to get behind for some reason. So, you know, that's like pushing something uphill, right? So,
Well, we're gonna experience it when D.R. Horton starts selling houses next February
oh yeah,
and start building them,
yeah,
And they'll go fast.
you know?
You mean off of Ironwood, or
Yeah, between Ironwood and Meridian.
that whole
That's,
area there?
what is it? I've heard numbers like,
20,600 homes over the whole phase of the thing.
I thought it was 12,000, so now you've
That's
made
the,
it even worse.
that's, I think
Things
the
ain't getting
first,
better.
Well, we round up here.
first part, that's probably the first 10
Way to ruin
years.
Phil's day.
And that's,
20,600
and that's just
homes.
one of them, you know? I mean, out there where Glen is, my God. I wanna take you out there to let you see that, it's unbelievable, you know?
I went out there with my drone.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I have a question for Glenn and maybe everybody here. What is the relationship, you know, how many snowbirds do they have in, compared to, like Peralta Trails right now, you know, it's like 50%, but with Peralta Canyon, it's gonna be a lot higher than that, because they have a lot of families moving in and stuff like that. I mean, it's gonna be a lot more
Our full-timers?
full-timers.
Yeah.
Changing demographics.
Is that gonna change with the houses they're building in Trata del Oro? You got your mic.
Lights off.
Oh,
It's hard to know who's going to buy. We're right now in the 360 that we have, we're about probably 20-30% snowbirds.
Yeah.
You know, the place isn't empty in the summertime. On the other hand, a lot of folks that are retired and are full-timers do take a month or two and go somewhere else for a holiday in the middle of the hard heat. So it's not
That's what he wants.
just that we have snowbirds going home in the spring, but we also have full-time residents taking their holiday. Well, how will that change in new homes? Right now what KB is building, they are all small,
Kind of.
flat, small homes. I would expect that there would be a fair amount of those would be snowbirds. Then the following development, north of where I am, those are more the size of what's on our side of the wash, and there are,
what's that square footage, Glenn, for each of those? What's the small one?
I believe they're
like
50
Scott's
foot lots.
60 by 60. The KB home lots are 60 by 120.
Are they 60 feet?
That's what they say.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, ours are, 75.
So you're talking about
And
1,500
then there's
square feet?
a section on the northeast where they're 85 or 90 foot wide lots. You know, they're substantially bigger,
The,
custom type homes.
the American home lots are 60 by 115. No, that's KB.
60.
Yeah, and so, and
Then the-
some of the other ones, some of the other sections are also that. I mean, the bulk of them are the
Right.
same size as what KB is building now.
Right.
And then there's an outer curve, they're the same size as what mine is on the west side of the development. And then in the northeast corner, there's going to be, some larger, like custom lots.
Yeah, the 150 by 250 ones.
I had the map here, but it's not in front of me right now, I'm doing
Yeah.
taxes.
We
you've
got
been-
it here.
Yeah, so you've been writing in who owns what, yeah, that's helpful.
I didn't, Charlie Golf did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But D.R. Horton's got a section over there which is to the east and down low and very interesting.
They're 50 by 115, so it's.
Could you send me that, Phil?
I could,
and we should send it to the group, just so we all know.
yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
to my knowledge, are all of the, cases now sold? I thought I had heard
No.
that.
I don't know right now, all I know of is, and I can't read the name of the two lots where, we're taking the hedgehog cactus off.
Right.
That's the parcels 1A1 and 1A2, and there's a name up there, I can't make it out. I don't know what it is, but.
Yeah, my recollection, not my understanding, my recollection was that those were the last two sections that you needed to sell, and they're now talking about clearing ground there April 1, which is why we had to get in there and get as many of those cactuses out of there as we could. So, yeah, that was a big project.
It's very interesting that they've allowed the design of taking the mountain down and moving it out on the parcel 3B, and that eastern edge of 3B is about 16 to 20 feet above the ranch land below it. I mean, it is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is, at least.
It's
You mean it's on
unbelievable.
this plateau?
Quite a bit higher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They punched a new road through that fence on that side, because, but it's awful steep on one side.
Oh, God.
Cause we went west out that, and then it hits another fence line and turns north again, to go around to give the neighborhood and folks that, particularly at our annual, we had, the folks that, leased the land where that little cabin, ranch cabin is back there. Supposedly that's been in their family for, like 100 years or something. And, the story that the guy told me was that they owned the land, but when the Florence courthouse burned down, the records were gone, and now they're saying, the officials are saying, well, I guess you don't own it if you don't have proof.
Oh my God.
And our records are gone, so they've been trying to establish ownership of that, but they now have, but they've been leasing it, so when they first started clearing land back there, that road that goes, along the park that we have on the east side of our, development, that road got completely cut, and that was their access back to the state trust land, and there was a gate there, and that gate and that road are now gone. So this guy was trying to, talk to the owner about getting a new access, and I piped in with, the neighbors also like to use that access to get back there and hike and, ride. We use it for recreation all the time. So they punched this new road, and it's I'm not sure it's passable yet. But, I'm looking at the map that you were talking about, and my understanding was that 1A1 and 1A2 were the last two to be sold.
Ben, how much did they sell for? Did you ever talk to Kennedy? Did you ever share any of the numbers, or are they public record?
Kennedy said it was embarrassing how much money he got.
That's good, we just wanna know.
He didn't, I'm not sure that he,
Well, I mean, that would be a public record.
I'm sure he got top
yeah,
dollar.
it would be probably.
Yeah, okay, no big deal. We'll
But,
find
you
out.
know, he seemed embarrassed, and he came out really good.
So he's gonna build a new
Yeah,
sewer
be
plant with
embarrassed
his
like that.
extra money and,
He's gonna,
signal lights, he's already gone to buy another property, right?
no,
No, what he's going to do is take his money and either buy an island or go to
Less
Florida, or
populated
he's gonna get out of there. He's done.
Glenn, I really think he's going to buy some of those Russian mega yachts that are available for
Yeah.
sale.
Yeah,
You know,
Okay,
That would make total sense.
Okay.
You might get a deal on one of those right now.
okay, well, this has been good, and, one thing I'd like to, I had Dale on the agenda for, just an update on what he's been doing over the last, month, if, you could just give us a
Okay.
thumbnail?
What, again, I'm still trying to build my knowledge base, but I have been polling walkers, hikers, bikers, and just asking them what they'd like to see, what their interests are, what things they'd like to see, and I'm putting that all together. But things like, people say we'd like to be able to go up Kings Ranch Road and through the neighborhoods and pop out on Superstition Boulevard and complete a loop along 60. So there's been a lot of feedback. It'd be nice to have a little better developed pathway that bikers and hikers and walkers could to do a loop in our neighborhood. A lot of desire for extension of a lot of our trails and soft trails, not sidewalks, but soft trails. So a lot of people have knee problems, ankle problems, muscular, skeletal issues, and they say, their doctor even says you should be walking on a softer surface. So there's a lot of desire for that. I'm trying to connect with them.
Well, then, wait a minute, so on Kings Ranch Road, we're gonna say motorized vehicles only on that sidewalk, walk on the rock, is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was slick.
Golf cart, I got a golf cart, I'm not gonna walk those 2 miles.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, trying to hook up with the bike club that purportedly was formed, Kings Ranch Road Bicycle Club, to see what their input is and stuff. But talking to a lot of people and just getting their input so we can understand what I think the community, a sampling of the community would like. And actually, I've been asked if I could come talk to the Tesoro HOA about Gold Canyon Community Incorporated. They said, we just want to know more about it, we want to know it. So,
Okay.
and I don't know how many HOAs we've done that with.
Just a couple.
I'm trying to hook up with Superstition Foothills. They're doing all their meetings virtually still, but I would like to do it, face to face if I could. But anyway, and Rotary has expressed an interest in coming and talking at their next meeting. And just tell them about what we're doing and our plans and our organization.
Yeah,
But
sure.
overwhelmingly, everyone I talk to says, I am so glad someone's looking at this and someone's doing something about this.
Yeah.
I mean, community support for you guys and this organization, when people find out about it, is really high, really high. So that's nice.
Just while you're talking, Dave Coward and Roberto have done, a show and tell with the Rotary, I think. So
Oh, have they?
I don't check with them, but I checked, and they have a standard deck that they use. And you might want to, just, get that as well.
That's what I wanted, if there's
Yeah. A standard package.
Standard package.
What we did, we customized it, and we'd need to, we'll want to update it probably with a few things, but,
yeah, so anyway.
Dave is actually involved in that and got to me a couple of times. I'm still curious about what the new park is. I'd love to take a bike, and I can go up Peralta Trail now, but it's taking your life in your own hands.
Right.
yeah.
But I've had friends that have actually been run off the road. They're on their bikes, And it'd be nice to have. There is a bike ride, right next to the barbed wire fence you can take, and if you're really brave, then, but if you avoid something, you could end up in a barbed wire fence. So it'd be nice to have a trail.
That's interesting feedback, because most of the bikers I've talked to, and a lot of the walkers, have said they don't feel safe walking in a
in our neighborhood things, I don't know where that is on his radar, because we have a natural here, we got people that wanna walk, and how could we partner with them? You know, he may say we need a trail consultant. I don't
Yeah,
know.
our neighborhood has a very nice trail map and they're all numbered and all that
Right.
stuff. Not everybody has that either, and the interconnectivity between the neighborhoods is, you know, my wife this morning and her friends are in town. Hop from our neighborhood over off Cascalote over into Mountain Road.
Right.
And that's a great little
Yeah,
connector there.
and it's well used and well maintained, and,
Which one is this?
right by you. That's
Oh,
right.
the one, okay, I didn't.
Goes up
Dale
over the
Dale
hill.
lives in the community,
I didn't recognize the street name.
Yeah.
No.
So,
but he's our neighbor.
Yeah.
You have to get a visa in order to go in.
Well,
We have a barrier around.
Yeah, yeah,
Passport.
yeah,
especially,
Can I make a comment?
sure.
Yesterday afternoon, about 5 o'clock, I drove to the Peralta Park. And you have many different emotional feelings when you do this. Number one, you question when they say they're gonna pave the road to the park. Are they gonna just blade what they got there now and put some asphalt down? And keep all these sharp turns and, I mean, that are dangerous now in gravel, you can well imagine what it's gonna be like with asphalt. Or are they gonna straighten it out to make an actual road? And when they do that, are they gonna have bike lanes on the side of that road or not? And I guess the real emotion I got was all of the stuff over the last year and a half, talking about the saving of the superstitions and the beautification of it, which we all love and adhere, we want to keep. You go out there now and there's no control whatsoever. And the ATVs, the pickup trucks, whatever, there's big parking lots, there's roads. And I look up at the Superstition Mountain, and here's this white pickup truck and a camper way up high. I mean, you could see it from Peralta Trail. You know, so
He's scouting out my RV spot for me.
who?
yeah, when I went
How'd
out
you
there,
get
there
up
was
there?
100 camps out there.
There he is.
Scattered
How
all
do you get
over.
up the mountain?
There's a trail now.
Oh,
He drove his pickup up this trail, and it seems to be a free-for-all out there right now.
It is.
It is.
Right?
It certainly is.
And I don't know who's gonna
Well-
step up to it.
Supposedly all those people on the state land have permits, right?
Yeah,
well,
right.
certainly
Probably
said
not
they were
heavily
gonna do some
enforced.
more enforcement, and that's.
Well, you know,
probably that means.
from a hiker standpoint, if you go to Kearney Springs Trailhead up there, all those are supposed to have permits.
Permits displayed.
And I am sure, I'm not gonna name any names, but I would guess 90 or 100%, close to 100, I have a permit, but it's terrible, you know, and they could make a fortune. You could, you
Yeah.
know, I don't
And I
know.
tried to get that
Pay for
because
the
if
roads.
you
Pay
go
for
down
the
eight,
enforcement.
What kind of permit? Well, you know, so
It's
the
a-
hiker, you need a hiking
Yeah,
permit?
you need you're supposed to have, if you're on state land and you're hiking from Peralta, I mean, from there, you're supposed to, a lot of people don't even know it's
I
a
didn't know
problem.
that.
Yeah.
I hiked there quite a
Yeah,
bit. I didn't
and,
need a permit.
You're on state land until you get to the Tonto National Forest and, you know, up to Kearney Springs. So that hasn't been enforced
Well,
at
get
all.
toll booths out there.
no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you
Just
go
go
down
around.
There's a
88,
sign now
if
that
you go,
says.
if you go down 88 Highway and you wanna go into that park there's a booth,
Yeah,
you know? There's a $7 fee.
Same thing with usury. Same
Yeah.
thing with
yeah,
that
usually
area.
I bike over there and they want $2 just to bike, you know?
Right.
So,
Do we have plans for this regional park? Is it, I mean, I hear dry camping, I
Well,
hear,
you know, if you.
there
if
is a
you-
plan.
Yeah,
can
if you go online,
For
and
1
Kent
year.
is the custodian of that.
okay.
That's
And,
it.
you know-
There's a map in the last independent newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, well
Yeah.
laid out.
Yeah.
And now if you go there, from when we were out there
Yeah.
at the opening,
They've
now
done a
you're
lot.
a mile back and you're up high, and they've scalloped that land all the way back and.
For the road or?
For the road into the park.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's there.
I stopped and talked to the construction guys about what was going on, what was the pipeline for, it's construction water only, not permanent.
Oh, I thought it was permanent.
No, no,
I know
no.
they're doing a well up there.
Yeah.
Well,
have
they're gonna have a well for water for the campers, limited water use.
Limited, they
Oh,
said.
okay.
they
And a
said
pit
the-
toilet, I guess.
I talked to the rancher there, and they've always had, that was their land that they leased, and now it's not. But they said there was only enough water for the cattle. It's not
Right.
there's not enough
Yeah.
pressure or whatever. So, I think they're gonna say dry camping, or maybe they'll build a water.
But it's not for
reservoir.
RVs or anything.
No, it's primitive, it's primitive.
Primitive camping,
Tenting,
yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
But that would fit with.
But you
getting
don't
the
have to
can-
go that far
understanding
back,
that,
cause you
and
got,
I'm gonna put in some money for a trail consultant, to.
Yeah, to
get
build
you
an
connected.
integrated trail map
Yeah.
would be really good.
Yeah, it makes sense.
you don't,
We get a consultant, somebody who does trail, somebody who'll come in and help us with an overall, connectivity plan of Gold Canyon.
Oh, that'd be great. I know when they were planning, the park out there, they had I think he was from Scottsdale, a planner that came in on and donated his time.
To
I wonder
plan
if we
the
could,
park.
yeah,
The,
somebody that's interested in doing something and
Wow.
maybe having their name on
Well,
a trail
I'll
or
get that
something.
person and I'll take the 20 grand.
Yeah.
Give me the interface.
In Michigan, the DOT would have trail maps, and we would do that as part of our intermodal program. And I think we did that in conjunction with the local planning agencies and whatever, and they would do that. And then our DNR, I don't know what they call it here, the natural resources people would do the same, would kick in too somehow. And they would distribute the maps through the DNR type people, so.
But that would be a kickstart, so we can get somebody that's their job, is to
To do that.
talk to the HOAs, get what's existing maps, talk to.
We have a very nice trail map system, and actually our ELS, who does our community common space maintenance, they also do some trail maintenance. There's trails they maintain, and then there's volunteers that maintain the other ones, and it's really nice.
Lots of trails.
I've got to get rolling. What's our next steps that I should be aware of? We're gonna have a meeting with the,
as we discussed, the next step, next month we'll have a meeting in April, and then we'll have, between now and then, we'll have the finale meeting.
Okay, very good.
And then we'll calendar everybody, and hopefully we can do it in Florence, if
Yeah.
not, we'll do it, online or hybrid.
Very good.
Okay?
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
And
Thank you.
ladies.
Any final comments?
No, everything's going fine.
Okay.
I'm learning.
Good.
One day I'll remember everybody's name.
First things first.
I do have,
What time is it?
I do have.
11:40.
11:30,
Close the door there.
11:40-ish.
I made a suggestion, and so far the suggestion has not been acted upon. On Don Donnelly, you got beautiful lanes, but there's no markings what the lanes are for. Is it for parking cars along there, or is it a bike path, or, I asked if they can get stencils out there and,
That would be an easy thing to do. Yeah, because what I observe, and I ride that every day,
yeah,
is it's a parking lane, it's a turn lane, I just can't maintain my car in my existing lane, margin lane.
because I'm alcoholic.
Every time I turn go around a corner, I cut in on
Yeah.
that. And
But I would recommend that either, whatever.
So where?
Mark it.
We're from and to.
Superstition
Don
Drive,
Donnelly, Superstition Boulevard,
Oh.
from 60 all the way to the top of
all the way to Kings Ranch Road,
all the way to KRR, has
8 feet.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
bike
ride.
lanes.
So what's the request, to put in stencils or bike lane?
Well, sometimes you don't know if it's I do that all the time. I bike the whole loop.
Right, me too.
And it's a great biking deal, but sometimes on the left-hand side, as you're coming down towards 60, going that direction, there's hikers and bikers, and I don't do that because I don't want to be But it's nice, I enjoyed that.
So what do you, so bike on the right or bike on the left? and
Bikes,
walk on the right?
bikes go with traffic
Right.
direction.
Yeah.
Walkers are supposed to walk opposed to traffic, so they can see what's coming.
But they
But
have.
Okay,
people
so-
don't know
turn
that.
So
around.
if I'm going from 60 and I'm walking,
Yeah.
I'll be, on the left-hand side. Okay, I won't be on the right, okay.
But there is a path on the
There's
the
a
other
paved
side,
path on the left-hand
the side, but
side,
not on the right.
and on the right, there's a dirt
Dirt path.
Yeah,
path,
I've seen that, okay.
the soft path.
I think there's a place, that would be a Pinal County, project, and I think there's a place where you can put in for striping, and the first thing
Oh,
they
cool.
do is do a traffic count, because for them
Oh,
to
yeah,
do any
they want
work.
3,500 vehicles a day, you know. I mean, Dave tried to get striping,
On Sleepy Hollow.
On Sleepy
Right.
Hollow, they wouldn't, but.
Well, there's
It's not
not
needed
enough
there.
traffic.
No,
But let's put in
No,
that.
we
it's
need
already
four
got the
lanes.
stripe, it's got the stripes already.
So let's, can we find out, how Dave did that? Could he do it for that?
Can you just give me
He
a
put
point of
in
contact?
the same area that I did, that little 2-page form that's for the TAC. And when the TAC got it, they said, oh, that's a safety project, we'll put it in over here, and they did the,
Can you
traffic
send that
count,
form to
didn't-
Dale?
Yeah,
pardon?
Send that form to Dale?
or at
It's-
least a
it's-
link to it, or,
Yeah, it's real easy to find, and it's so easy, cause all you do is say what you want signage and striping, and you want it from here to here.
Well, on downland, we
because
don't
of-
need striping,
Yeah.
it's already striped.
right.
On the one side.
We just need to
Extend-
mark it, cause a lot of people don't understand.
Right,
Right.
They
right.
think they're just a part of the main road.
Right.
So you put that in the form, that, you know, you need clarification, you need to make sure it's walking and bicycling, and probably put your phone number in there to say, okay, because I don't know if these people are experts, or they engineers, or what. But I wouldn't know exactly unless you wrote it down, I have no idea what you would
Yeah, I
envision.
wouldn't either,
You want like a dotted line, like when you're going on some trails, I know,
yeah.
it's
You could tell.
bikes.
Yeah, I can tell, I can talk to him, if you
Yeah.
just give me the connection, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like bikes on the right, and, you know, on a single trail, not on a road, you have that.
But that's a universal rule that people just don't understand. Bikes go with traffic, oh, in almost every state. Bikes go with
I'm gonna
traffic,
put that in the minutes. 'cause
pedestrians go against traffic, and if there's an existing sidewalk, pedestrians should stay over there, not be on the shoulder or on the bike
Right.
lane, but. no.
It's kind of confusing though, here on, Kings Ranch Road, you got a huge sidewalk.
I ride on the sidewalk, cause
Yeah.
the shoulders are nothing.
Sometimes I have to play the game and go over and then come
We're
back.
putting that into the TAC, that when they do this road, they need to put in decent shoulders
Yeah.
that are consistent, you know,
Yeah.
like 8 feet or whatever.
And then I yell at Jerry when he's in his golf cart on the sidewalk.
You try and catch it.
You know, there's so many different pots of money with ADOT, and that sidewalk was put in because it was off of a state highway. And look how far we were able to
That's
put it.
great.
It's a beautiful
It was-
sidewalk.
Oh, it's
yeah.
great.
It just was a pot of money that came down one year, and then it came down a little bit later, and they did it 2 sections.
Yeah, we always find a way of making
Sheriff
people
Lamb doesn't have
happy.
enough
You create another fund and
Exactly, you
No,
know, you
you're-
just have
you're-
to watch that money.
You're exactly right, I was up at Hieroglyphic Trail parking lot and stuff, and they have an issue with people parking along there, and there's a sheriff deputy there, and I said, and he was writing tickets for everyone parked along the shoulder, not
Yeah,
on
to
the,
tow 'em.
and they were getting them towed, and I kind of said, well, you're having a busy day, and he says, we absolutely do not have time for this crap.
Right.
He says, I've got 450 square miles that we're supposed to be patrolling, and I'm spending my time up here writing tickets or having people towed.
I guess.
They don't have the resources
I
to.
guess my comment is, we have a volunteer group in this community, sheriffs on patrol.
Citizens Patrol.
Citizens Patrol. Why can't they do that?
Probably insurance.
Well, if they're deputized, is it?
They are not deputized.
Well, you can deputize them,
Well,
and you
that's
can arm them.
That's a
You
big
train 'em.
You
process.
gotta pay them.
See, I'm on the citizens posse.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
I'm
what
not
you-
a deputy, I don't carry weapons, I don't write tickets.
You don't even, you do talk to people in crashes.
When they have an art fair here, you go
Yeah.
out there and you help control traffic, parking and stuff.
But
to
even-
become something more is quite the process, because there's liability issues,
Well, then you're
personal and
then you're a cop.
organizational.
I think even if you're volunteering, you've gotta be on their workman's comp policy, don't you?
They probably
In case
do.
you're hurt.
Hey, Phil and
why,
Glenn,
Yeah.
my power is really low on my phone, so I've got my hotspot on, so we might lose you. The one other item I want to bring up as we continue this, or finish off, I did bring up the Hawk Crossing. They're gonna put a flashing crossing here at the church, and they
That's
stood
a
up,
great idea.
stood up in support of that, on Wednesday, so.
Why?
So,
There was
that's
Nobody ever
somebody
walked
killed
across it.
there. A few years ago, there was
Glenn or
somebody
Phil, did
killed
you have
there.
any closing comments?
What crossing,
This is right by
what
the,
crossing is that, Chair?
that's right, the United Methodist Church here. They had funding to do that, and now, it looks
Yeah.
like that's gonna go and start happening. They're getting an intergovernment agreement between Canal and ADOT, I guess, to, get that done.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm absolutely shocked nobody's been killed there anyway. When they have the art fair and they have the
They
food
have, yeah.
events and stuff,
That's why they're
That's
gonna
why they're
put
doing
one
it.
in.
Somebody
Yeah,
did- somebody-
it's-
Somebody did
Yeah,
get
it's
killed.
That's-
right behind my house.
that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Well, according to the all-knowing next door, in the middle of the night, some guy in a total black or blue uniform or coats on was walking in the center of Kings Ranch Road.
I
That's
saw
not
one
true.
yesterday.
That's
doing that.
not our responsibility.
Is that are they talking about the one the pedestrian that was killed out there?
No.
Oh, cause
This
he's
is
on the
just recent.
shoulder.
Another Night Stalker.
But what happened
When did
last
that
night?
happen?
What was the wreck last night?
Probably maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know, I wasn't,
There
was,
last night.
It come on, next door, that there was a wreck, the road was closed, westbound 60 highway between Mountain Brook and
Bashes, eh?
Bashes.
Well, that's the second one, they had one.
About
a couple
9
weeks
o'clock,
ago.
9:30.
They've been having a lot of those lately,
Yeah,
really serious
The
ones.
pedestrian that was killed, there was, whatever year it was, and it's been a few years ago, a federal grant came out to Pinal County about pedestrian safety, so they investigated